Hello everyone, it is Briximus Prime, back at it again for another Star Wars action figure video, and today we're looking at the Star Wars The Force Unleashed Hasbro Pulse exclusive multi-pack. You could also say I've been forcing myself to get this video done on time. And now taking a look at the packaging here, it's got the nice Force Unleashed artwork right there on the front. Here on the side, it just has a little rundown about the character Starkiller and some of his, background. Then it has the artwork right here again. It's also got a rundown right here on the side of the contents inside the box. And then this just has a little sliding feature right there, which has the original game box art image right there. And then this is the section where Starkiller was held inside the box, and then the Stormtroopers were held in these little side compartments right here. But really cool and creative packaging that these guys have created. And this Force Unleashed 3-pack comes with a lot of accessories to cover. First of all, you get a pair of E11 blaster rifles for the Stormtroopers. Starkiller comes with multiple sets of hands. First off, he has a left-handed, loose gripped hand, and then he has a right-handed, tighter grip hand. One is for holding his lightsaber, and the other is for holding these nuts. And then he comes with this pair of open, relaxed hands, or I guess, him doing, force motion movement with his hands. And then he has a nice set of force choking hands. Oh, so that's why this is here. And then Starkiller also has this, force push, hand, I guess, with, this force effect kind of coming out of his hand. And again, this effect looks pretty good because it's like he's unleashing a little bit of his force power.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And then Starkiller also comes with these crazy Force Lightning hands, which are really fun to mess around with, and are made out of a nice transparent blue plastic. Speaking of nice transparent blue plastic, Starkiller also has his lightsaber here, which comes with these transparent blue parts for the blade. And in addition to the regular blade, he also gets these wavy ones, so it kind of adds more dynamic posing to the lightsaber. These also come in red, because in the game, you could choose between being more on the light side or dark side. And the belt, the belt can also have the hilt on the belt for storage purposes. He also has other holes on his belt for when he's hunting down Jedi's lightsabers.
Fine addition to my collection.
And then Starkiller also comes with this display base, which has some nice pegs right there for standing him up on it. And it does come disassembled out of the box in multiple parts, so be sure to, build that accordingly. And this accessory actually makes it look like as if Starkiller is going Super Saiyan. And now getting into Starkiller's alternate head sculpts. First of all, he has this yelling face. I kind of like how they have this darkness kind of around his eyes, almost like he's kind of turning to the dark side a little bit with this, kind of rage-filled face. And again, everything's all cleanly painted, and he has this slight glossiness to his face, almost like he's been sweating. And then he has this, buzz cut, to his hair. Nothing too, it's pretty bland. It's nothing too surprising. And then he's also got this, stern expression. It almost kind of looks like he has a bit of a devious smile, but it also kind of looks like he's a little bit pissed off. It's kind of a weird face to look at, but, I mean, it works for combat poses, I guess. And then finally, he just comes with, a neutral face of, and he looks a lot like Sam Witwer, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, the same guy who played Starkiller, Sam Witwer, he is also the same guy who voices Darth Maul in all the animated shows.
Kenobi.
Anyway, coming down the rest of the body here, he has a nice brace kind of chest plate right here, kind of made out of a metallic plastic, and then it's all painted up. Also, a rare instance of blood here on his shoulder. Again, Starkiller was a character who was getting battered and beaten throughout the game, and so he has these torn clothes. And as you played the game, his clothes would actually get ripped and torn up, and as you kept getting hit throughout the game. He also has this little wrist communicator thing right there that looks nice. He's got the gloved hands, as you guys saw on all the different hands. He has all the wrinkles and everything right here. I like the belt and such. And then he has more of an exposed forearm right here with a torn sleeve. He also has a little bit of blood right there on his lower forearm as well. And again, Some nice wraps and bandages and, you know, different details here depicted. He also has a bit of green painted right here in the cloth piece. And, of course, he also has all the wrinkles and everything sculpted really nicely. He also has these holes in his belt, which are used for, you know, like I mentioned before, when he's hunting Jedi. There's some Jedi in particular that I would like to hunt down, if you catch my drift. And then he's got his boots right there. And then, of course, he has pickles on the bottom of his feet so he can plug into that Super Saiyan stand. And then both of these Stormtroopers are kind of your typical Star Wars The Black Series Stormtroopers. The helmets look really good. They have slight green tinting to to the eyes and the lenses. And again, I just love those little subtle details. And honestly, these guys are nothing super unique. I mean, they are just your standard white Stormtroopers.
Take over.
Typical details with the belt and the breastplate and the forearm armor. And, you know, everything's pretty typical with these guys. And again, these two are exactly identical and exactly the same. Pretty clean sculpt work and no QC problems. Peg holes also on the bottom of these guys' feet as well. My only problem is I feel like some of the joints on these guys are a little too tight in some areas, and then some of them are a little too loose. That's what she said. But I do like having two identical Stormtrooper figures included with this guy because it's my way of kind of army building my Imperial Stormtroopers in a way. Now getting into Starkiller's articulation, first off he has a double ball joint situation going on here in the neck. It allows for his head to look up that far, it does allow for him to look down that far. He does get some head pivoting, head can rotate a full 360. And then, you know, if you also utilize this abdomen ball joint in here, he can get some arching back, which can allow him to look up a little bit farther, and then some arching, and then some ab crunch allows him to look down a lot farther. His shoulders can rotate a full 360. They can move up that far and down that far. He's also got some butterfly joint movement there in his shoulder, as you can see. He also has a elbow swivel, over 90 degrees of bend at the elbows, both of the elbows, and then the wrists all rotate and then can rock up and down or wrist move in and out like so. And then also this diaphragm joint also allows for a waist swivel, some pivoting, and just all kinds of diaphragm joints all in there. And then if you move over this around, you can get his hips to move up about that far. They can move about back that far. He can do the full splits, thankfully. He does get a bit of a thigh swivel in there. Knees do bend over 90 degrees. He also gets a bit of a knee swivel in there. And then his ankles can move down. They can move up. And he does get some ankle pivot. So yeah, pretty good dynamic articulation for this guy, which is really good for a lightsaber wielder, a swordsman. And the articulation on the Imperial Stormtroopers is exactly the same because, you know, they are the exact same toy. Ball joint at the head, which allows his head to look up and down, head pivoting and swiveling all over the place. Shoulders can rotate a full 360 with the shoulder pads moving to adjust. Shoulders can move out that far, they can move down. He also has butterfly joint movement in his shoulders. And then elbows swivel, over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrists can rotate and hinge up and down. Diaphragm joint in there, which allows for arching back, crunch, diaphragm pivoting, and waist swiveling. Hips can rotate about that far. They can't rotate all the way, but they can rotate back pretty far. He can't really do the splits, but he can move his legs out pretty far. Does get a thigh swivel, over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. Ankles can move up, they can move down, and the Stormtroopers also get ankle pivot. And now getting into the comparisons for this 3-pack. Here they are with the Gaming Greats Force Unleashed Sergeant Apo. Here they are with the Force Unleashed Elite Royal Guard. And then finally, here they are with the Black Series Darth Vader. And they look very good together, both the Stormtroopers and the Starkiller.
You agreed to stay away! I lied.
And that is basically it for my review on the Star Wars The Black Series Force Unleashed Starkiller exclusive 3-pack. I really like this figure. Now granted, there is also another version of this Starkiller figure that you can buy that's where it's just Starkiller by himself, and all he comes with is just a red lightsaber, and he just has the one face expression. That figure is completely fine. It's basically the exact same figure as this one, only this one has slightly more battle damage in the arms and has those cuts of, red and bleeding on his arms. And again, if you're not really into the mood to buying the extra accessories of the Stormtroopers, I do highly recommend buying that other Starkiller figure if you can find him. And because this figure is really good. I like the Starkiller. I like how posable he is. I like how detailed he is. And obviously the accessories for this one make the experience a lot more enhanced. And also specifically in my case, I like getting the 2 Stormtroopers because it's my way of kind of army building my Imperial Stormtroopers. Because I do like army building sometimes. And this is definitely a great way to do so, especially since I didn't already have that initial Starkiller figure. And again, the accessories for this guy are also really useful, like that Super Saiyan, explosive, stand is, really helpful even outside of Star Wars stuff. I can be using that for a lot of other figures as well. And just overall, this guy really fits into my Force Unleashed video game Star Wars collection, and I just really love everything about it. And if I had to give this set a rating, I give this set a solid 9 out of 10. My only complaints is there's just a couple of tiny little things here and there. I wish his head could look up a little bit farther, and I just wish that some of the joints didn't feel too tight on the Stormtroopers. I feel like I'm going to break them or stuff like that. But, it's not entirely perfect, but it's near perfect. I'm really happy with this pack. So if you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to give me a like on the video. Comment below what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars, Transformers, and action figure content. And I'll catch you guys next time. May the Force be with you always.